Welcome to our podcast. You're listening to Blue Sky by Ixon at www.ixonmusic.com. This podcast is for entertainment and psychoeducational purposes only. There is no therapy or therapeutic relationship given or implied. Welcome to Why Complain When You Can Whine? Three professional women attempting to make sense of I have no idea what I was saying. I was like halfway through that. I'm like, that's not correct.
Welcome to Why Complain When You Can Fucking Whine.
Welcome to
pour another one.
Welcome to Why Complain When You Can Whine, making sense of the senseless. Three professional women attempting to make sense of toxic nonsense while drinking wine. Oh, I do have to say, I was telling Heather, I have to just point this out because I am wearing my Dallas Cowboys shirt. And I'm specifically pointing it out because today they played the New York Giants. And I have a friend who, former coworker who is super obnoxious Giants fan, who starts from the very beginning of football season to the very end of football season. And then throughout the summer, just talking about how the Giants are going to beat the Cowboys. We beat them the first game of the year, and then I have not heard, he's not shut up since, and he'll just send me these random Giants memes or whatever. And so today he was talking before the game, and then we won. He put something on my page. He's like, I'm really liking the score now. And then it really turned, and I put, yeah, I'm really loving the score right now. So now that they've won, he's quiet, and there's crickets, and we swept them. And so just in case he listens, I have to say, like, I'm wearing Dallas shirt. So I just got to put that out there. And in honor of, even though this is not going to come out on Thanksgiving, tonight is Thanksgiving. So I have my thankful as fuck class. And I am incredibly thankful that I have met you ladies, that we are doing this podcast, and that I have you always have Martha. I have my Cali Red, my 19 Crimes Cali Red.
Nice. That's what I started drinking on over at Erica's tonight. Hi, I'm Heather. I'm a licensed professional counselor, DV survivor. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm back on the bluffer because I got to finish it. And I got my friend Erica, who is gracious enough to let me spend Thanksgiving with her, gave me my drinker bell cup.
Love it. It's your favorite color too,
right? And it's my favorite color.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Even though this will not be Thanksgiving when you're listening, I'm Ashley Page, founder of Loving Single Mom. I shouldn't have done that back to back. Single mom, founder of Loving Single, DV survivor. Tonight I am drinking just I got this really cute gift package as a Thanksgiving present from my parents, and it has a bunch of these little Stella. This is a Stella Rosa, Stella Peach. Little one. I think this is like a 1.5 glasser.
Yeah.
And then just a nice solid black as my soul wine glass with a sippy straw.
Yes.
I was the one that made the biggest gaffe, and I have not had any alcohol at all until just now. So
that's why.
I was just gonna say, I will probably be speaking so well by the end of this because I just fucked it all up in the beginning. Why not? Why not? I'm sorry.
Heather.
I'm just like, I'm looking at Heather. Heather had some alcohol already today.
Yeah. Thanksgiving. Eat, drink, and be merry, huh?
That's what we do.
So I missed that one here. I'm going to be late.
So one thing I wanted to talk about today, because I got a comment, and this is not a bad comment at all, but I got a comment on one of my videos about this woman who she was thinking that her significant other might be a narcissist. And from what she told me, it doesn't necessarily sound like he's a narcissist necessarily, but toxic is toxic and it doesn't matter. But one of the things that like really struck me, because I hear this a lot, is I'm so embarrassed that I didn't figure this out sooner. I'm so embarrassed that how did I not know? How did I not see? For her, it was like 25, 30 years. And one of the things I told her is, for one, I said, don't be embarrassed, because most of us have a lot more than just one thing that we're embarrassed that we didn't notice before. And that got me thinking. It's never a good thing to get me thinking. And I just sat there like the past few nights thinking about my ex and going back to the very beginning of our relationship and laying in bed going, oh my God, what the hell? Why the hell? How stupid. But then I also have to remember, it is within context. It is so easy to look back in hindsight, knowing what you know today and saying, oh, well, that was that, and that was that, and that was that. But in the moment, it's wrapped up in a pretty little bow. So we don't know, like one of the things that my ex lied about right out the gate was where he lived. And he had told me that he lived, for those of you, again, I was in a 10-year relationship with a narcissist, and I have been, narc free for 4 years. But my ex told me that he lived right by work, within just a few minutes from work. No, I'm sorry. I lied. Fuck, I need more alcohol. I am so sorry, guys. My ex told me he lived by the beach, which was about 40 to 45 minutes with no traffic from my house. My house would have been right in the middle between his place and work. So he was always coming to my place because he was coming from work. He'd stay at my place and then go back to work. And it seemed easier than my driving and him driving another hour or more in traffic to go to his place, and then another hour or whatever, back to my place, and then another hour to go to work. So my place being right in the middle was the perfect solution. So I really didn't think much about like where he lived or didn't live until one day he gave me a check for a fundraiser. And I looked at the address and it was right by work. And I'm like, what is this address? And he said, oh, because I am on our CERT team, which is crisis response team, I need to theoretically live like 5 minutes from the prison. So I'm using my friend's address as my address, according to the institution. And again, I had only been at work for like a year, maybe. And I didn't know if that, what would make you think I'm going to go check and see if that's really true? It sounded true. The CERT team is like SWAT that has to mobilize like that. So I thought that sounds good, because you wouldn't want to be living an hour and a half away or 2 hours away if there's traffic, if there's an emergency at the institution. I know so much difference now, but so I went with it. I'm like, okay. But then things just weren't adding up. Like I said, oh, wait, so you're off ramp? I know exactly where that is. And there's a hotel right there. He's like, wait, what, huh? What do you mean there's a hotel? And then I started questioning, okay, wait, I only go there once in a while, so maybe I'm wrong. And it's not the right on or off ramp. And looking back, I'm like, why was I okay with him not knowing that off ramp? Why was I okay with that? That should have been a clue that wasn't where he got on and off the freeway.
But that's so crazy though, like just to like interject there, because they're like, these are the things, right? Is like the things that they lie about are also the things that, like, to be honest with you, like certain things that I won't disclose in my life to someone I'm like getting to know initially. Like there's certain things like especially being on the government, the address confidentiality program. Like there's certain things. So it's one of those things that's so hard. Like it's easy for us to be like, why the fuck didn't I think twice about that?
Mhm.
Like, well, because like the certain things that they lie about that seem like such a humongous deal are things that I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's like there are innocent things that we do that they will do that they completely pervert it and twist it. And then that's why it's so easy for us to be blindsided.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's like literally like calling the kettle black or like saying like, well, if the shoe fits, like you do it too. But it's hard to explain when you've been in the victim versus also knowing the abuser.
Yeah.
It's a sticky little web, I feel like.
Like he would say to me, it's like, I have to go to the doctor on a Saturday. And so I'll pick you up and then we're going to drive back to my area because that's where my doctor is. Like, okay. So he would drive over here, pick me up and drive back. And I always thought that's kind of weird. Why are you making this trip? Well, it was on the way, because he was coming from where we worked, passing my area. So, hey, let me pick you up. And I have to go to the doctor on Saturday because that was the only day and the doctor's office is open. And I know he works Monday through Friday, but it's like, it's because his doctor is there, not by where he lives. So all of the pieces separately, it was like, it's a little weird, but it didn't like, it wasn't a red flag that I look at it right now and say, how the fuck? Until one day, there was a lot of construction because I have to drive home from work all the time. And there was a lot of construction and he was really late coming to my house. And I'm like, why are you late? And he's like, oh, because this was going on and that was going on. I said, no, that's not happening on the freeway because I drive that freeway every day. Oh, and I started like really thinking, okay, wait a minute, something ain't right here. And that address that you gave me, I believe is probably your address. So I started kind of stalking it. And my doctor's office was right there. So what I would do is when I had to go to the doctor's office, I'd just kind of pass by it and see if I would see his truck. And sure as shit, one day I passed by it and there he is it was apartment complex, out at the apartment complex getting mail. And it was the last thing that I expected to see. And I was driving slowly and then I was just like, what the fuck? And I backed up and he saw me and I'm looking at him and he's looking at me. And I'm just like, it was one of those things where you're like, all of a sudden you don't know what to do. Like you imagine you're going to get out, you're going to scream, I just like freaked the fuck out and drove away. and then he calls me and he's like, why were you following me? And I'm like, dude, I wasn't following you because I never expected to see you. Why would I expect you to see you in some random apartment getting your mail? And he's like, it's not my apartment. I told you it's my friend's apartment and I'm getting the mail for him. That lie didn't last very long. He eventually told me, yes, that's where he lives.
They tell you in all sorts of ways, but it doesn't mean we're dumb. Like by the time things start playing out and making sense, we're so in it and trauma bonded, most of us. And
you don't want to believe it either. You don't want to believe that
no, you don't want to believe it. And you also want to believe that they can fucking fix it and change. And so like, all right, you've been caught, now own your shit and make a change, right? Like normal fucking people, if they get caught in a lie or caught doing shit, will be like, yeah, all right, yeah, and this is why I did it. I was trying to save face or avoid this consequence. And then they will change their fucking behavior like a normal person does if they value the relationship. But they don't change. And then that's really what fucks us up. And then later we're like, oh, they didn't change because they were fucking narcissists. Why didn't I know they were a fucking narcissist with all of that was going on? And it's like, because we're human fucking beings and these people, this is their personality. This is what they do. This is who they are as beings in the world. And so they've been doing it a lot longer. They've been manipulating and lying and fucking people over forever, longer than we've been fucking thinking about it. So, of course. And so we can't shame ourselves and be like, why didn't I see it sooner? Or why didn't I get out earlier? Like that's not really helpful. And I mean, like fucking professional therapists and psychologists can get duped by these motherfuckers. Okay. Like there's nothing, there's nothing to be ashamed of. This is who they are and what they do to people. So, don't beat yourself up for falling for it. This is just what they do.
Because again, they don't like blatantly, well, yeah, it's kind of a blatant lie, but it's wrapped up in this nice little box. So like my ex, I cannot tell you how many times he would be on his way here and then he got in a fender bender and, oh my God, so I'm not going to come. I just can't come. I'm too shook up. It's like, you got in a fender bender. And it wasn't even a fender bender. It's like your car had the tire blew and it ruined your fender, basically. Mm-hmm. I can't come. Well, because he was with someone else. And then one day his son was the one that got in a car accident. And he's like, they tell me he's fine. But I'm just too shook up. I'm just too shook up to come over. And those are the kinds of lies that my ex would use to fuck around, fool around, and all that. He would use family members' tragedies.
Yeah. They love to take advantage of your empathy and compassion. That's their favorite fucking thing to do. They think you're a fucking idiot for having that. So they're like, sweet, like I can have a family tragedy or a personal tragedy and you can feel sorry for me and then I can get away with whatever the hell I want.
And how dare you even suspect that it's not true? Because what person in their right mind uses a family tragedy? I mean, how many, there's jokes about grandma died how many times, right? You heard kids trying to get out of tests and things like that. My ex's dad died a few times.
Yeah.
Like funeral and all.
Yep.
A few times. He these are kind of long stories. I don't know if you want me to go into them now or if we want to do a separate episode on the stupid shit that our exes did. But yeah,
we could definitely do a whole fucking episode on the stupid, crazy lies and shit that they pulled.
Yeah. And then there's the one that I have that is that dirty little secret that I thought I would take to the grave that my ex did. That was really embarrassing.
Oh yeah, so, you gotta hold on to that for when I'm like,
yeah,
different day.
But yeah, my ex would use things like, my daughter is in the hospital right now, and his daughter was in another state. So how dare you come at me? And it's like, put you in a position where you can't really say, really, your daughter's in the hospital, really, because to me, it's like karma. And it's like, what if God forbid she really was? And now's the time that I'm attacking him.
Right. Yeah.
Well, so I want to say something and I might get fucking reamed for this. Not from the two of you because
never.
It would make you both look really bad, but listeners might do it.
Oh, not what I'm drinking.
But and this is me being, and I made a promise to myself when I started my social media accounts that I would be super transparent about how toxic I used to be. And I've built my entire brand on authenticity and not being ashamed of where I come from and what being around abuse for almost my entire life did to me and the toxic behaviors I learned. And I got to be honest with you, growing up with a narcissistic, my mom's not a narcissist, but she's extremely narcissistic. We could have a whole mother issue because I come from a very toxic mother who I love dearly, but drives me fucking up a wall. But being unseen, unvalidated, unheard, unaccepted by my mother, who I was just dying for attention from. And then having a father who was an alcoholic and addicted to pain prescription and also antidepressants and the works. And then once I was 9, being, molested for over a year by my great grandfather and not being able to tell anyone, I developed, as I grew older, from about the time I was probably between 10 to like 17, I learned the only way for me to get attention, for someone to see me, was if there was chaos, was if there was trauma, if there was death, there was, like, if someone had died. Like, I didn't make up people dying. Like, if someone died, I would overplay it because I wanted attention. Like, it makes me want to cry, like how just how desperate I was for someone to see me. But like, I would over exaggerate everything because I was so desperate for attention. And so I wanted to put that in there because I know that there's going to be some listeners who are hearing you describe your narcissist ex, and they're going to be like, fuck, I do that, but not that, but I do something like that. And like, I want to make that abundantly clear that that's what makes abuse, like abuse victims, at least from my perspective, both of you can correct this, and then the abusers, seems like there's such a gray line sometimes, because the survival tactics we have are the mechanisms that abusers use in order to abuse, and that's what we will use in order to like. So I don't know if that's like a place for us to divert, but like, I'd like to talk about that, because I'm sitting here listening to you and I'm like, fuck, that was me. But like, I never said my dad died. I wasn't like, there's a funeral.
Oh God, we could do a whole episode on this serious shit and it's so embarrassing to me. So going back to this lady, because I do want to comment on what you said big time, but really quick, going back to what this lady said about being embarrassed, it's like, I am so embarrassed because I can give you a litany where you would be like, and you're a psychologist. And so that's where with me, I questioned everything about my abilities and all that when I left him, because how it's embarrassing. But going back to what you said, this is where, and it does diverge a little bit, but this is something I've really wanted to talk about as well. CPTSD, complex PTSD. I think right now, a lot of people, I hear a lot of people saying they're being diagnosed as borderline personality disorder, because I think CPTSD and that emotional dysregulation and some of those behaviors that you're describing, I think mirror a little bit borderline personality disorder. And the difference is borderline personality disorder is your personality. It like becomes you. So if those traits became such to the point that it starts to interfere with your social, emotional, occupational functioning, and they are persistent and they are long lasting, and they literally become who you are into your person. Whereas CPTSD, those same behaviors, those are treatable. Those are reversible, if you want to call it that. Because once you start learning your trauma and the reasons behind it and why you're doing these things, and processing that trauma and getting past that trauma, those behaviors can stop and change and stop. So I think a lot of people, psychologists or psychiatrists that aren't really familiar with CPTSD, are seeing these behaviors. Like they may have had you, you may have come in for whatever reason. They said, oh, Ashley, you're borderline. I could see you being, with what you just described, being diagnosed with borderline. But I don't see that you are borderline, because you don't have those traits anymore. Or you know that you had them and you're doing things to now get rid of them. So as you process your trauma, that emotional dysregulation gets back to being regulated. Those, internal and interpersonal relationship issues, you start to process those, you know what to look for, you know what the red flags are. It's different. It's almost like somebody that has, I want to say a rash, poison ivy that you put medicine on and it goes away, versus eczema or psoriasis that is in there. And even though it goes away for now, it could come back and get triggered and whatever. I guess that's kind of an easier way to explain it. So I think some of the CPTSD symptoms will look like borderline.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too, is that I hear the thing that goes right next to I'm so embarrassed. And so this is where it kind of like coincides is, am I the narcissist? Because of exactly what I was just talking about is like we start learning about like narcissism or these different personality disorders, cluster B, and then we start identifying with certain behaviors. And so then there's the shame, there's the embarrassment, and then there's the coupled with, of course, the gaslighting we get from our abuser is fuck, am I the narcissist? Am I the problem? Like, and that's
Is
what
it
makes
me? Am
this
I the
whole,
drama?
yes, I mean, and that's what makes this whole thing so damn confusing. Cause I know Heather's talked about it on a couple episodes where she's talking about like, maybe me. And why should I have to ask them to change? I mean, it makes fucking sense. Like, shouldn't I accept them? And which makes this whole thing so messy, especially when people come in ignorantly and they have something to say. Well, you're a therapist, you're a psychologist. Like, how the hell did you get yourself in this mess? And it's like, well, you're so dumb.
And they're so good at gaslighting. I remember on my birthday, after we were together, not even a year, on my birthday, he was supposed to be coming over. We were supposed to go out. And then he was telling me how selfish I was because he was having issues with his family. And I'm like, well, but I don't understand why that makes it so that we can't go out to dinner like we had planned. And I was selfish and I was this and I was that. So I was like, okay. Then I went out with my friend and I was like, oh my God, here I was sitting there trying to get him to take me out to dinner. Maybe I am selfish. Maybe, wow, I wasn't empathic or empathetic and I wasn't compassionate. And I was like, so why still can't you go to dinner with me? Oh my God, what a selfish bitch I am. He's right. He's right. Oh my God. And yeah, I remember that day so well. And I remember beating myself up for how am I so not sympathetic to his plight right now that I wanted to do something for my birthday. And I told I remember telling my friend, I think he's right. I think I am selfish. Oh, I want to go back to that person now and say, no, you are 100% right, and run.
Right.
And run fast, go away. But
we needed to get more selfish than we were, for sure, because they just love that empathy and compassion and playing on that. They will always capture that and say that's the one, that's the string they can pull. I'm going through stuff, stop being selfish. And their needs, we give a fuck about them, right? Like and then all of a sudden we're meeting like 100% of their needs and they're meeting 0 of ours.
And the more you meet their needs, the less they meet yours. As they see that you're doing more and more, they're doing less and less and less and less and less. And again, it's not black and white. They don't stop doing it overnight. They pull back.
I love what you said. I think we need to that's like a replay, like rewind, replay moment. The more you meet their needs, the less that they meet yours. Like, fuck, boom. I mean, for real though, I've never heard it put that way. And it's those mic drop moment, Dr. Jody.
Well, Heather started it. She just passed it on to me. Good
it's the torch.
Like
nice
it was like a relay race. And that's what also makes it so hard, is because as they're pulling away, because they gave you, and as they're pulling away and you're giving more, you're like, wait a minute, let me give more. Wait, let me give more. I don't understand. You gave it before. I did this before. Even when my ex and I split up it wasn't the last time. It was the last time it was when I found out he had his new supply. And I was like, oh my God, but what's wrong? What was wrong with the relationship? What was going on? He's like, well, you knew I wasn't happy. And it's like, I didn't know you weren't happy. What? How can we get this back?
Yes, that's exactly what I did. Yes.
I want to bang my head. I remember sitting in my car, bawling my eyes out, begging him. Fuck.
Yes.
begging him,
Same.
why can't we make this work? And what is the most upsetting part is, what did I do wrong?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. And I'm like, I
gross.
didn't do, I knew, I was like bawling, like I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. What did I do wrong? It was so, it's
Yeah.
crazy making what they do.
What did I do wrong? Oh my God. If I had a time machine, so many things that I look back, and this again goes back to so embarrassing, but
How human we are.
and like you say so often, Ashley, is they take our stuff and weaponize it against us. Like, he knew about my husband. He knew about my husband passing away. He knew what went on in the months before my husband passed away. And he turned around and weaponized that against me in the end. And actually, he did it more than once when I think back, but that's exactly what he did. And it was kind of like I'm going to do what I already know what was done to you. And I already know harmed you. And I already know is your trigger. And I already know is your fear. And I'm going to hit you with that.
Oh God, it makes me want to vomit. And how, and I think it's one of the fallacies of just being human, to be honest with you, is our need to push our agenda. And I hate to say it like that, but I want to rephrase it and say, like, when we know that what we've done was that we didn't do anything at all, and when we know for a fact I didn't do anything, like, all that I've done is try and take care of you. All that I've done is lend you money. All that I've done is pick you up. All that I've done is everything you've ever asked me to do. And somehow now, like, I haven't done something right, or I haven't done anything at all. And like, I just need you to see my point. I just need you to see that I didn't do anything wrong. I just need to show you how you're making me feel. And that's what gets us stuck in this psycho, crazy, horribly painful, I want to crawl out of my skin loop of like, please just see, please just understand. Please, can I just show you like how you're making me feel? I need to show you how you're making me feel and what you're doing to me. Fuck the time that I wasted doing that.
God, I found, and I've since deleted it, and part of me wishes I didn't delete it only because that way I would have it for you right now. But I decided to audio tape once, to voice memo, this argument that we were having toward the very, very end. And I totally forgot that I did it. And so after I was gone, done out, probably about a year later, I found it and I listened to it. There was a half an hour that I wish I could get back from my life, because it was me saying to him, I don't understand why you're not listening to what I'm saying. I don't understand why I'm saying XYZ and you're over here talking about 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And because he would deflect. And I'm like, just what? I don't understand why you're not. And then he would go off on how it was my fault, this and that. And I'm like, but what is my fault? Because you're not listening. I'm trying to point this out to you. And of course, because I'm trying to show him his fucking gaslighting way, he is now taking it over to there. And the whole time I'm like trying to look, why aren't you listening? Why for fucking 30 minutes? And it's like, why did I not, why did I sit there? Why did I sit here this whole time?
And then the reaction to you when you're bawling and crying and just like their total lack of empathy.
Yeah.
That shows in like the moments when you're in so much pain, begging for some fucking understanding and just listen, for fuck's sake. And they just, it's like they go dark. It's like there's nothing in there.
Yeah.
That was
Ugh.
like the most telling for me.
I don't know if you guys had either of these things happen to you, but my ex, I would sit there and I would listen. Okay. I would listen. And then he'd ask me a question while he's screaming at me. Okay. He didn't ask me a question, he demanded an answer. And so then I would start saying, and it wasn't what he wanted me to say. So he'd interrupt me. And then I'd be like, well, wait. And he's like, see, you just can't fucking stop. You can't stop. Why are you always interrupting me? I'm like, bro, you just asked me a question. I'm trying to answer it. You
Yes!
interrupted me. I can't
That's
even
fine.
answer it. And then you're telling me I can't stop. And then you're blowing up at me and being like, you always fucking do this, you crazy fucking bitch. And then out the door, slams it shut, takes my car
Yes.
keys, drives off with my car while he's wasted. And
Yes.
then I'm crying, trying to find him, chasing him down the road. And then
Yep.
I'm up for 12 hours because he never shows back up at home because he's off sleeping with someone else and selling
Yes.
cocaine and doing
Yes.
lines. And then I'm just crying. And then he shows up and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
like, where?
exactly identical to the shit I went through, Ashley. Fucking identical. It's the fucking unfathomable, like they're not the same person. Like that is identical to bullshit he used to do to me.
And you're wondering if they're alive or dead because you're not hearing from them.
Right.
So
Total
mad,
ghost,
you're
like
sad, you're-
total, like, yeah, just not even fucking responding to text messages, blowing up his phone, going straight to fucking voicemail, leaving like 10 fucking voicemails, knowing that he's with whatever woman he's cheating on me with that night, and getting high and doing whatever he wants. And then, yeah, comes back all strung out the next fucking morning like nothing happened.
Yeah. And how dare you bring up what happened? Because
Well,
No,
because it's our fault.
by that point, it was like, God, there's no point in bringing it up. By that point, it's just, you don't even want to go through it again. And so you just are like, all right, I guess we're good now. And then you just try to walk on eggshells and hope that that day doesn't repeat itself ever again. And then it does. And it does,
yep.
and over and over and over again. That day just repeats itself until
Groundhog
day-
Day, until you shut the fuck up like a good little bitch and have no
Right.
opinion and no say and let me do what I want and don't question me.
right.
That's
And even then it's now then I'm getting questioned. Then I'm the one who's getting all of his character defects projected onto me. What are you doing? I swear to God, you're cheating on me. Who the fuck was that calling you? He's looking at my phone records, just like, and then Googling and like reverse phone searching every fucking phone number that calls and texts me. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? So I have to answer to every single fucking person that's in my life. And then it just gets more, and like, and I just can't, at that point, it's like, I can't stop. Like, I can't fight it. Like every time I fight it, we do the same thing. He leaves, he cheats on me all night, and then he comes home. And then we start all over again. So now I'm just enabling all of the bullshit behavior so that I don't have to deal with the fight. And now he's picking fights with me about shit that he's fucking actually doing until he decides to leave me for one of the women he's cheating on me with, because
But you still belong to him even though he left you, right? You still belong
right,
to him.
because God forbid I'm not there when he leaves a I need help note on my fucking door, even though you fucking left, dude. Go the fuck away then. Be gone. No, I need your help. And now that's because the other girl just figured you out and now you're back. So
Well, if you think back too, it's like, because sadly, I do this way too often, even though I know better, but there are probably people here listening saying, well, why did you keep going back? Why did you keep taking him back? Why didn't you just walk away? And if you have ever been in a toxic relationship, it's not that easy. Because again, and I cannot stress this enough, the toxicity didn't happen day one. Little things happen that they push in there to tell you that they're toxic, but they do it under the guise of, like, what is your street sign? Danger, whatever. That seems funny until you realize that that really is their street sign. That really is what they are. So by the time that it's like really there and impacting you, you're in it.
And you got 10,000 positive things that you're clinging to desperately.
Yes. That
And
potential. We had such a fucking amazing time. But realistically, you didn't, but you want
Mhm.
it to be an amazing time.
Most of the amazing times that I look back on, they were fantasies
Mhm.
of
And they
what
were
I
also created
wanted
by
it to
me.
be.
Yeah. Like they were events or things that I had to organize, like things and experiences that I had to plan out. There was nothing that he brought to the table. There was nothing that he planned out. Like it was anything that was actually a positive moment was only positive because I was in it, not because he was. It was only positive because I created that, not because he had anything to do with it.
Yeah, one time I wanted to take my son because we have magic passes to Disneyland. But back when my son was little, we didn't. We hardly ever went. And Disneyland was doing a special Halloween thing. And I wanted to take my son. He was 7. And so I got the tickets, and my ex was supposed to be at our house at 4. Okay. He's late. He's late. No, I'm sorry. We were supposed to pick up my son at 4. He didn't get to my house until 4. And it's like, what? So what? Why is this important? It's like, because 1, we have to go pick him up. We can't be late picking him up. And 2, this is supposed to be a really special day. This is a surprise. And so he was in a bad mood because I was like, dude, why were you late? And he was late because he was with someone else, I believe. So we go and pick up my son, but the whole way to Disneyland, he's like, you know what? I'm just going to drop you guys off. I don't know why this is so important. And he's picking a fight. And I'm like, dude, luckily my son was sleeping, but I'm like, dude, he's like, why is it so important for you anyways? I'm like, oh my God, I'll tell you why this is important. And as soon as we pulled into Disneyland, I woke my son up and he was like, and jumping up and down. And I handed him his Halloween costume to change into. And it was just, I wish I had social media at that point because it was so amazing. And I looked at my ex and I'm like, this is why that was important. This. And he was like, grumpy, whatever, the whole time, just kind of dragging for a while until he started to let himself in and have fun. But it was like, even a fucking surprising my son with Disneyland Halloween wasn't freaking magical.
No, because unless it's about them. Like how many fucking parties I threw for him, the surprise parties I threw for him, the get-togethers I planned for him, the surprise concert tickets I bought for him, blah, 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 blah. As long as he was the center of attention and he was the one I was doing it for, he never planned a party for me. I never got Christmas presents, Valentine's presents, anniversary presents. He was always like, I promise next year, baby. I promise next year. I promise next year I'm going to be able to afford you this, or we're going to be able to buy a house, or I promise next year. It was always these empty promises of future story faking. And I was always the one that was fucking showing up. Every beautiful memory I had with him was a memory I created for him. And the only reason he didn't fucking ruin it, it was because it was his moment. But anytime it was supposed to be my moment, he fucking blew it up.
Yeah. Oh my God. We went out for dinner for my birthday one year. And again, I think this was like the first year we were together. Why did I fucking stay? But anyways, we were at sushi and it was supposed to be a nice day. And all I can remember was he just started berating me, like devaluing me, berating me in the restaurant. And I was just like, what's going on? And he's like, why are you yelling? People are looking at you. And I'm like, and I started to like tear up and he's like, oh, now you're going to cry and everyone's going to see. And I'm like, I was like, literally, what the fuck is happening? Where is this coming from? I had no idea. And we went home and the next day at work, he acted like everything was wonderful and fine. And I said to him, that he's like, how was your night? I'm like, that was like the worst night of my life. Like what the hell? I mean, as far as date, sorry. Because I've had worse nights. But I was like, what happened? He's like, what do you mean what happened? I'm like, you like yelled at me. He's like, I didn't yell at you at all. You were making a scene in the restaurant. I'm like, how is what? And he's like, and you know, I thought we had a perfectly good time. And
God.
it was like, who, where, what the
They're not in reality ever.
no. And again, you know, I think about this was the first year, but every time I would say, maybe this isn't working out, it's like, no, it's going to get
Oh,
better,
God.
better. And so
Mhm,
they don't let you, because again, there's that future faking thing.
mhm.
So I know though, I did, after we went out a few times, I didn't call him, he didn't call me. And I was like, I'm not going to answer the phone when he calls. I'm not going to answer the phone. And I had a freaking flip phone at that point. For some reason, I think it was my spare phone. And I remember I was walking home from somewhere and my phone rang and I saw the number as I opened it and it was his. And I was like, fuck, why did I? Because that just got me right back into it. I mean, I didn't think about it as NPD and hovering and, you know, all of that. I just thought, crap, he's gonna pull me back in because I do like him and I know I like him. And it was hard. There's still, God, why the fuck did I like him? Looking back and being able to talk about it, it's both cathartic and embarrassing as fuck.
But
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing though, is like, we tell people not to be embarrassed, but like, is it wrong for us to like, listen, there are things that happen to me that have happened to me that were not my fault, but I still am embarrassed. I feel embarrassment.
Mhm.
I think like, is it healthier? I'm asking genuinely, is it healthier for to say like, I understand why you feel embarrassed. Like, but I just want to make sure you understand that even though you feel embarrassed about this situation, it's not your fault. Is it healthier to say that more so than it is don't be embarrassed? Because the truth is, I'm still fucking embarrassed. Like,
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between just sort of being embarrassed about it and then getting in this like shame cycle of self-blame and self-doubt and a place where like now you're getting stuck, right? Like, yes, you can feel embarrassed, you can feel a little guilty because we're normal people and we've made mistakes and we can change, right? We can take accountability for any decisions or choices that we've made that, you know, but we're not going to take accountability for someone else's abuse of us. But if you're feeling ashamed of yourself, or you're telling yourself that there's something wrong with you, like there's something defective about you as a person, and there's not. Like this is not happen. Sorry, this does not happen because there's something wrong with you as a human being. And that's the difference, right? Like shame gets you in this place where I'm broken. I'm a broken person. I have a broken picker. I'm broken. And that kind of language is what I don't support. But yeah, sure, you can say you're embarrassed because it's fucking embarrassing to be like, yeah, like that. I was with that. Like that's embarrassing to admit. but shaming yourself is where I draw the line.
Exactly. I think that saying, you know, like I told this person, I think we've all got things that we're embarrassed about, you know, and that's okay. Because one, we're human. Two, we are out now. We have seen now. Did you learn from it? I know I sure as fuck did. And so now that's why I'm trying to also help people, others, to learn and move forward and be able to not get wrapped up, hopefully, in it again. But it's embarrassing because how many times, I think this is why it's the most embarrassing. How many times has any of us growing up ever said, I'm not going to get in a relationship like that. I'm not going to let that happen to me.
not me.
I wouldn't do that.
I honestly never said that though. I never said that.
You never thought, I'm not going to be in a domestic violent relationship?
But I didn't know what domestic violence was. You see, like I grew up in so much normalized dysfunction with zero education on what it was. That was just my normal.
Mm.
And like it was there was not physical violence. My dad never hit my mom, never even threatened violence. But it was still very just extraordinarily dysfunctional. So I just knew I didn't want to be anything like my mom, but I didn't really look at relationships because I never dated. Like my first boyfriend is my daughter's dad. So he just fucked my whole world upside down and left and right and sideways and backwards. It wasn't until after him that I was like, I'll never be in a relationship like this again. And then I kept finding myself inside of that.
It's our instinct is, I think, and I don't mean this as far as IQ wise, our instinct is, well, I'm smarter than that. Like when we hear stories about, wow, he lied to you about that. I'm smarter than that. And then it happens to us. So it has nothing to do with IQ. It has nothing to do with how smart you are, because they don't carry a sign saying, insert lie here. This is a lie there. And they don't do their things in such a noticeable way. You can pick them out. Again, hindsight is 2020. That's why they say that, because you can pick them out now. You could separate them like separating egg whites now. But back then, it's just one big scrambled egg. So it's hard to pick it out. My ex, one time, he came over. So many stories. He came over and he was really, really tired because he goes to work early and he wanted to take a nap. I'm like, okay. So he took a nap in the guest room. I'm like, I got laundry to do. I ain't fucking stopping my day. So I was doing laundry, and every so often I'd go downstairs, check he's still sleeping. I go downstairs. And at a certain point I went downstairs and I look and he's packing up all his shit, because it was in the closet down there in that room. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, you're just going to leave me here like this, like just doing my own thing. You don't even care. You don't even care what I'm doing. Doesn't matter that I'm here. So I'm leaving. I'm like, dude, you were sleeping. What was I supposed to do? Sit by the bedside till you woke up? Like, what the fuck? Literally, what did you want? I was fucking folding laundry upstairs. Like,
sit
was
by
I
the
supposed to
bedside.
be like,
God.
You
Yeah.
were supposed to be knitting him a blanket while he slept.
as I'm sitting, yes, as he's there. Because I was just like, I was literally shocked when I came downstairs to find him shoving all of his stuff into his duffel bag. Like, he wasn't just getting ready to just leave for the day. He was like, we're
Leaving
done.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
been there too. I have the duffel bag memories. Got a couple of those. Like, for the dumbest shit, like just made up shit. And I'm like, why are you leaving? You're not fucking. And then I would like demand that he not leave because it was so asinine, any reason he was leaving, that it just, I was like, your reasons are wrong, and so you must stay.
And don't you wish you could go back and go, bye-bye? I wish now that I would have gone, see ya.
Right. Instead, I'm all trying to convince him that his thinking is illogical and like, hello, listen to rationale. And there was no rational thinking. No rational.
Oh man, I swear, I wish now I would have been like, there's the door. Goodbye.
The thing about it is, though, is that it's such a catch-22 with these fuckers, because if you do that, then they're like, oh wait, it's like push-pull. It's like,
Yeah.
whatever you don't want, I'm going to force upon you. So if you don't want me to go, then I'm gonna love bomb you and like be, oh baby, no, like I'm sorry. And then if you're like, please don't go, they're like, no, I'm fucking leaving. And it's just no.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
How many times was that played on you? How many times? I remember, one day I was just sitting there. It was New Year's Eve and he wanted to go with his new supply. I just know that's why he did it, because we're sitting at the table and he goes, oh, you're going to act. God, I remember these things so well. You're going to act like that. And I'm like, Like what? I'm sitting at the kitchen table. He's like, he used to love to say this. You're all like, you're sucking on the lemon, pursed lips. I'm like, no, I'm not. He's like, I don't need that. I don't need that attitude. I don't need that shit. And he goes in the other room to start packing his stuff. Stupid me is like, wait, what? Can we talk about this? What shit am I doing?
Are we not having a conversation about this? It's so dumb. I literally, I came home from work one day and he had left. Like the second time we broke up in our 3-year nightmare, like he actually packed all his shit and left while I was at work at my new job. Like I just started at the office and I came home and like I always would call him on my way home because God forbid he doesn't know where I'm at every fucking second of the day. So
Yes,
I would always call him and he didn't answer the first
Yeah.
time and I thought that was bizarre. So I called again and then he didn't answer and I called again and then he answered and he's like out of breath. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, are you busy? Like, what are you doing? Like, this motherfucker ain't got no job. Trust that. So what is he doing that he's out of breath? And he's like literally moving his shit out of my house, out of my apartment. And I was like, what the fuck? So I'm like crying all the way home and then he's gone and then I'm crying and I'm telling myself like that was, I think I told you all the story of when I wrote all the horrible things he had done to me on my mirror in my bedroom so that I would remember not to take his ass back this time. And I still took him back one more time.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I called it with my ex. I said, we are done. Stop talking to me. We were at work. And I said, we're done. Stop bothering me. I'm not answering my phone, so you email me. I'm not answering my email. You text me. You just leave me alone. And he's like, no, oh my God, I want to marry you. We're going to go out and buy rings. We're going to do this and that. And I said, you know what? I know as soon as we do that, you're going to start doing your fucking shit again. No, I won't. No, I won't. I'm so sorry. I don't want you to leave. I don't ever want to lose you. Okay, so I have to give him credit. He didn't do it as soon as. He waited a few months. He let it, the little honeymoon period of a few months. We went and we bought the rings. We went and we exchanged rings. We did all this stuff. And then he waited a few months before he started the fucking around shit again. And I'm like, I knew it. I called it. And that's why I'm also so mad because I called it. I knew he was going to fucking do it. But yet
like it's so predictable. It was literally like seasonal. Like this would be the time of year that he would pick fights and then leave.
Oh my God.
Like this was his fate. Like my birthday is in September. My birthday he would ruin every fucking thing and then leave. And then by the time it was spring and summer, we were back together. And then by winter, he was fucking around again. It was seasonal. It was so predictable.
Oh, the pattern loop. I was just like, oh, it's that time. Like, why don't you just pack your bags? You don't even need to fucking fight. Just
right. We could just skip that part today.
But I mean, this is like, even with what's going on with my ex right now, this is exactly what he did 4 years ago. Is he took off, he went around, he traveled around for a little while. He tried playing his games with me. It didn't work. And then he fucking took off to Mexico. That's what he did 4 years ago. And just a couple weeks ago, it was like he left in July, right around my daughter's birthday, which is per usual. And then he's gone, starts asking me for money. And I'm like, no, fuck you. And then all of a sudden one day he's like, bye, look at the plane pictures of me in the ocean. And like, I'm in Puerto Rico now. And I'm like, all right, fucker, see you in 3 years. Like, it's exhausting.
Does he speak Spanish?
Oh, better than I do. And I'm Hispanic.
Okay. Since he goes to those places, I just wondered if he spoke Spanish. Or
Yeah,
if he's prey on people in English there too.
I would kick his ass in Spanish.
But I mean, he lived in Mexico for 3 years. That man, he speaks with he could speak with my grandpa, a little abuelito. He's, yeah.
Abuelito. I want to hug him.
He's so little.
I'm like, I just picture him and now I want to hug him. Like I have a visual now that I need to hug.
I'm literally the tallest one in my family on my mom's side. And I'm 5'4.5".
My little, so adorable.
Cute.
I'm the smartest. I'm fine with that. But yeah, so there it's so as far as being embarrassed and all of that is, I do want to do an episode. I just think about, part of me wants to talk about all the stupid things that my ex did. Like I said, cathartic, but almost almost as, and I'm saying this because maybe other people feel this way too. It's kind of like validation that I'm not an idiot. If I
Right.
tell you these things and tell you these stories, you guys can be like, oh my God. But at the same time, know that there was something behind it. You know what I mean? It's like, I was not just a stupid person,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes any sense at all.
Totally.
Like,
Yeah. Like this is just human stuff, and humans are victims of predators, and that sucks, and it's normal, and it shouldn't be fucking normal that this shit happens to people, but it happens, and we can be embarrassed and a little bit ashamed of ourselves, but oh my God, don't stay in that because it's just so human to be in this position, unfortunately.
the something that you just said, let me see if I can get back. I don't know, talk amongst yourself as I figure out what it was that you had said.
I don't know. I was talking about shame cycles again and not getting stuck in them, and and yeah.
I don't remember. But I do know that, like Ashley, you were saying about getting in these relationships over and over again, you do go to the extreme of like, now I don't know what to trust and what to be suspicious of, because innocent seeming lies, not lies, innocent seeming things, like someone being late, I have to look at as, wait, is that the start of exerting control? Is that the start of, or somebody saying that, oh, sorry, that text was from my sister. Oh, do you really have a sister?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. The trust issues. We could do a whole fucking episode on the trust issues that we've all developed, but we can heal from those. Like, imagine being like a little baby and having trust issues about the human race. That's what created these motherfuckers. So at least we can heal from ours.
And that kind of goes back to the CPTSD and borderline. I do think that you can heal from CPTSD. I truly believe that through therapy. I think BPD can kind of be symptom managed with a lot of work, probably, if somebody wants to put in that work and that effort, but it is lifetime effort. Whereas CPTSD is not, for lack of a better way to put this, a life sentence.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yep.
you can back that emotional and mental stuff.
Well, I mean, because I noticed when I started going to therapy for what happened to me when I was in college, and then when I came back home and I was going through therapy, I started being able to catch myself where I would like be about to like engage in my toxic behavior or these like emotional like irregulation responses, and I'd be like, whoa, we're not doing that anymore. This is not how I choose to be. I don't have to make these choices. Like, I don't want to be like that. This isn't who I am. This is just what I've taught to do in order to gain attention. So I'm just not like that. And I've seen, I mean, and then on the other hand, though, with my daughter's father, it's almost like that's just who the fuck he is. And it's just an expectation of, do not expect more, do not expect less. This is where it's at. Period.
Mm-hmm.
End of story. You're not going to get a different result from this human being because this is just simply how they operate. This is their like modus operandum.
Even the clients that I work with that have ASPD or Even-
I think she froze.
am I frozen? Fuck me.
It was no, it was the best part for
Fine.
you to freeze. Because we're like waiting. And then it was like, yeah.
Did she freeze? Did she freeze?
Are we good now? Am I done being
Yeah.
fucking frozen? Jesus
Yeah,
fucking
we're good.
Christ.
Yes.
What was I saying?
Only
Oh, even like clients with ASPD, like Ashley was saying, you learn different behaviors, you learn how to make different choices, you learn that those choices make you feel a different way, and then you want to be that way. Like it's like that can change. These guys that I work with, they don't see the benefit of behaving in a different way because what they do gets them what they want. So we basically have to supervise them in the community by probation and parole and make sure that they do what they're expected to do and not hurt anybody. And that's kind of the only way they can function out here. But unfortunately, they don't give a fuck about changing, and they're not going to.
And see, that's also the difference is you knew, Ashley, why you were doing what you were doing.
Insight.
And I think about that word introspection that you used before too, is when you know that you're doing it and you knew that it wasn't necessarily the best way to go about it, but it was the only way that you knew how. Now, when it becomes a personality disorder is, I don't know, because I don't think you'll ever get a straight answer if they really know what they're doing is wrong. Now, I know NPDs do not like themselves. They are self-loathing underneath it all. They hate themselves. And this is what they have to do in order to even like themselves. But I don't know if they think it's wrong. You know what I mean? I don't think there's any.
yeah.
I don't think there's any, gosh, I really shouldn't be doing this.
Well, because I think like, at least like, because I've just been observing and paying attention to like the comments you get and the comments I get and like Heather's conversation. Cause Heather doesn't really talk about haters on her page. But
I don't give a fuck about them. I just delete them.
but it almost appears to me that there is nothing wrong with what they do, because the only thing that is their concern is my needs being met. So however the fuck I go about getting my needs met is what's required. Is what's required for me to get my needs met. And like how it affects you is neither here nor there, because I just need my needs met. You know, and I haven't seen anyone's like, I mean, the only person I've really seen say anything about it is Cluster B Milkshake on TikTok, where she's like, yeah, it's fucking wrong, but listen, I got to get my needs met.
It's not that they're insane and don't know the difference between right and wrong. They know the fucking difference. They know
they don't care.
they
about
don't
the
care
difference.
about. But
Don't see anything wrong with it.
NPD cares about like rules and stuff. NPD is very like there's an anxiety base there. They don't want to be like in jail or anything. ASPD, they don't give a fuck about rules. They don't give a fuck about
other people's rights or authority. They don't care.
They don't have anxiety at all about anything that they do. A narcissist has a little anxiety about.
And BPD has anxiety about people not liking them or leaving them, and then they lash out and cause people to leave, and it's just a downward spiral from there.
Yeah, I mean, my ex, which is why I would say, just based on the conversations we've had, his ASPD is much more predominant than his BPD, because he will straight up say, well, like, I'm gonna fucking kill him. And then I'd be like, oh, that's fucking harsh. Like, I remember being like, thinking he was joking about shit like this. And he's like, no, it's the fucking principle, Ashley. It's a fucking principle.
Stuff just came out like BPD in therapy. And that's why he got that diagnosis. Like he was trying to manipulate the therapist and they caught on to something and just called it BPD.
Oh, he's so like, the more I've read about ASPD and how much trouble he's been in his entire life. And there's certain things he cares very much about. Protecting children. He cares very much about that. He does. Helping little old ladies across the street and opening doors for them. He cares very much about. But
Charming.
any regular schmuck on the street, their life means nothing to him. Nothing. And he will get rid of he talks about getting rid of people over just a simple bad look because it's the fucking principle of it.
Well,
Don't disrespect me.
The text that you've sent that I've read, I can totally see BPD in there too. I can see BPD and ASPD.
Yeah, that's true. That text.
Yeah. And then there's that whole cycle of don't leave, get the fuck away from me. Why are you leaving? Why are you near me? Go. Why the fuck did you go? There's that, which is big BPD. Like my ex, I think is NPD, but I think he has HPD in there as well. Because he does have the look at me, 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 look. Why are you not looking at me?
No, mine's ASPD to a T. He's quite evil. Does not give two fucks.
Mine is law enforcement. So he isn't. Someone told me, and this explained my ex so well, that and it was somebody that worked at the prison too, that was good friends with him at work, and said, "Oh, he's just an inmate in a different color uniform. You didn't notice that?" And I was like, well, now I do. but I really didn't think about it before. But yeah, he's got a lot of the cluster B stuff, but I think he's got HPD. He's got a mix of everything. I don't know that I see a lot of BPD, but definitely checks all the freaking NPD boxes. I'll tell you that much. Yeah. And that's another thing. Once I left him, everybody was saying to me, we thought you knew. We thought you knew how he was. And I'm like, no, why didn't you guys ever tell me? Because they're all like, yeah, we don't like him. We've never liked him. Everybody at work. I'm like, why did you never tell me this? Because we thought you knew about him. We thought you knew what he was. If I fucking knew what he was, do you think I'd have a ring on my finger? No, I did not know what he was.
People will always assume that psychologists and therapists will know everything about everybody, and we don't.
When it's your
They're not fucking paying us to know. We're not going to know.
This is why we can do our jobs, and this is totally separate from our job. I am not involved in your life. So if you watch any sport, but if you watch, say, football, and you're going like, why is he not throwing the ball? That guy's open right there. Why is he not going that way? Or why is he not running that way? You can say that because you're above the field. You can see the whole playing field. You're not in it trying to see past everything. When I do my job, it's because I have no emotional stake in it, that I can look at the whole picture. And yes. I hear words and I'm listening for things and patterns and all that. When it's me and I'm in it, I'm in the forest. I'm in the labyrinth.
Yeah.
I don't have any magic key to get out of the labyrinth. I could tell you how to get out because I'm above it saying, make a left turn, make a left turn, make a right turn. Because I'm not in there with you.
Yes.
But when I'm in the fucking labyrinth myself, ugh, can't.
Yeah.
I don't have a machete so that I could just cut right through and get out. Although next time, that's what I'm gonna fucking do. I'll be like, no, I'm not even gonna wait to see if that's a red flag. I'm out.
No.
But that's not healthy either.
I feel like right now it's really healthy for me. I gotta be honest with you. This whole loving single concept. That was hard to say.
Say that again.
This whole loving single concept. I feel like I'm 35 years old and I've spent 27 years of my life, roughly 28 years of my life, just immersed in complete and total dysfunction and self-loathing and self-hatred and like conditioning. And like right now, I am just like, oh, fuck no, stay as far away from me as possible because I have so much to undo and to unlearn and to learn and to correct. And like, I like my peace.
Yes.
I like my money.
Yes.
I
Woo!
like my time. Like,
Yes.
I don't need your fucking problems. Like, man, I mean, and I was with my ex from the time I was 19 until I was 27. And then for the last 7 years, I've been trying to get the fuck away from him and stay alive. I don't want any fucking man in my life. Like, y'all are nuts. Stay away from me.
Oh my God. That's another thing. Narcissists especially thrive. All cluster Bs on drama. And there was always drama going on with my ex. And I had his voicemail code. I don't have it anymore. I don't care. But after I left him, like 6 months after I left, I'm like, I'm just gonna check his voicemail. I just want to see. Oh my God, it's the same fucking drama. I'm listening to the messages. This is going on. You need to call that person. Your son's in trouble there. And I'm like, holy fuck, my life is getting so much better. And I just took a step down memory lane of this motherfucker still exactly the same person going through exactly the same shit and has not changed at all because they thrive on drama. And I don't want drama and I don't want shit. And I have to bring this up. Specifically, there is a certain creator on TikTok that says, you were looking for love so bad, so bad. That's why you let them do this to you, because you wanted to be loved. You wanted to be loved. No, shut the fuck up. You know who I'm talking about. And I can't remember exactly what they said, but it's something to the effect of, because you wanted to be loved so badly, you kind of allowed this to happen. You fell into this.
Like we're desperate. We're just desperate and pathetic.
That is the way that they made it sound. And I remember listening going, no,
Yeah.
that's not why. And there's other creators on TikTok that say this too, because you are so traumatized from childhood, from whatever, that you walked right into this, that this is like, and like you, Ashley, you said this was kind of normal for you, but that's not that way with everybody. Cause then I started thinking my childhood was pretty damn good. And I had a really good marriage, but I didn't know that people were that fucked up because I had a really good marriage. So when I dated him, I didn't expect somebody to be that fucked up and that big of an asshole. So I didn't stay because I just wanted to be loved so bad. So bad. So bad.
Right. No, I get love. I had plenty of, like, I had people that loved me before this motherfucker came in my life. Like, I wasn't desperate for love. The dumbest thing I've ever fucking
I mean, am I wrong? Remembering it wrong? Did I hear it incorrectly?
No,
Or
that's
did I-
exactly, I know exactly who you're talking about. I remember exactly what he said in the video, and that's it, is that.
I don't know who we're
Desperation.
talking about.
Oh, well, it's our favorite person.
Oh, well, you know who he got that from. I'll be honest with you. You know who he got that from? But he completely twisted and manipulated it. He's got that from me.
He got everything from every one of
All
us.
of
He
us.
And
twisted
that was
it and made it
one
wrong.
And that was a conversation that he and I had when I told him, when he asked me why I was still choosing to be single. And I said, because I was working with a therapist and I had a breakthrough one day when I said that I was so desperate to be loved and chosen and accepted by someone that I was willing to do anything it took for this particular person to choose, accept, and love me.
Mhm.
But I never said to him, this is what everyone does.
And that's basically what he said is that's why people get into these relationships. And it's like,
No.
we're not.
I must have missed that video because I got to tell you, I missed a whole hell of a lot of his videos once he started jacking shit from me and all the other creators. I was like, you are butchering everything we're saying,
Oh
like
my God.
especially the whole shame concept. Like, I was like, bro, you don't even. You're just, it's like the mama bird who goes and gets the worm and then chews it up and then pukes it up in the baby's mouth. That's what happened.
And the babies are like, I'll take whatever I can get.
Yes, because the baby's hungry, like feed me.
Fucking
Right?
drastic, man.
Yeah, because even the way he took it from you, I can see you saying, I wanted desperately to be loved. But the way he's making it sound was basically, I can punch you in the face and you'll stay because you're so desperate to be loved.
Well, and victim blaming is very different than self acknowledgement of this. I'm doing inner work and looking at like what was going on with me. I wasn't blaming myself. I truly wasn't. I was just saying what was going on with me. How did I,
But
rectify
we all
this?
want love. We all want to be loved. We all want that person that we care about to care about us as well.
Especially when
want
they
that.
pretended to in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not like you were just
No.
here.
No.
I want love. It was they show us. They show us and we want it back.
That's exactly what it is desperation. And that is what I had a conversation with him about, was the desperation for the love that I was shown initially. I would do anything to get that back from him because I wanted that back. Like, what do I got to do?
We all do.
Like, that's what I was going through. And
that's what we all want. That's what keeps us there. Yes.
Because the truth of the matter is it's not like, and this is so funny. This is what he and I talked about, is it's not like, we'll be like, anyone who chooses me, I'll be with.
That's how
that's the desperation that he's referencing, is like, no one will choose me. So any random human being that comes up and says you, I'm going to be like, okay, that's not the thing.
Yeah.
That's not it.
And that to me is so victim blaming.
Yes.
So victim blaming, because we are, oh my God, I really care about this person. And I really thought they cared about me too. What happened? Because I know when my husband passed away, my husband was my best friend, my partner. We played together, we worked together, we had our own business. And I remember when it took me a while to meet my ex and decide to go out with him and start a relationship again. And I told him, I said, I had a great relationship and shit happened at the end that I found out is very common with people who kind of feel they're going to die. And so I'm very skeptical. And I told him I am wounded from that. And my husband was my emotional rock. Like if you think about when you're driving on a cliff and they have those metal guardrails that don't really do much, but you feel safe that they're there, as opposed to no guardrail at all. I said, my husband was my guardrail. I didn't need him. I wanted him. And he was there for me to just tell me everything was going to be okay. That's what I'm looking for again. And my ex was like, I want to be your emotional rock. It's like, cool. That's what I'm looking for. But I wasn't like, I need to be in a relationship and someone to be my emotional support. I wasn't like that. And when I was hearing that, it was just like, oh my God, nails on a fucking chalkboard and so much misinformation. And I know that's not what, you don't know what you're trying to say. You have no idea what you're trying to say, because what you're basically doing is telling everybody that is in a bad relationship or a toxic relationship that it's your fault because you are begging for someone to love you, no matter who it is or what they do. You just want love so bad. And it's like, no, motherfucker, that's not it at all. It's that when we started going out with this person, they showed us that they could be this wonderful person for us. And then they took it away. And what happens when somebody takes something away from you?
I want it back.
Come back. Yeah. However, if you're somebody who's just, I can say it now, fucking preying on people, then you don't really know what it's like. You're just pretending. That's why you don't know what you're saying. You're off. Why does it keep going off?
I'm off.
Now you're back on, but you were
Okay.
off.
Oh, I was just mouthing. Yep.
Oh,
Mhm.
because it went. That's so it was like I thought you were off. But anyways, because I'm if you haven't figured it out, I'm off. I'm a little off. I'm a little touched. I'm okay with that.
Well, yeah, I think we should do an episode in the coming weeks of crazy shit my ex did or said. We can just all come to the table with our crazy shit.
Yeah.
But I think it is important to help people understand it's okay to feel embarrassed, but it doesn't mean it's your fault.
And again, when I tell you, it's funny because my secret that I thought I was going to take to the grave and I accidentally blurted it out alive one time. So hopefully everybody forgot about it. I've heard way worse since then. So I'm like, okay, mine's bad. Mine's not as bad as that one. Mine's not as bad. And it kind of makes me feel good. I don't feel like, oh, those people are idiots. I feel like, oh, thank God somebody was duped worse than I was. Oh, thank God I wasn't the one who had the worst story of them all, because mine is not, I am not proud of at all.
Got some good stories.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I think on that note, if you have any stories of your own that you want to share with us, leave them in the comments, or you can send us an email. I'm going to get this right this time. It's really easy if you have not been drinking. Believe it or not, it is. It's WCWYCW and the number 1. WCWYCW1 at Gmail. You can Gmail us your stories if you have.
Gmail. Sorry. You can Gmail me your story.
No, you know what though? You know why I do that? You know why I do that? Because on TikTok, if you write an email out sometimes, they won't post it. They won't, they'll delete the comment if you write out an email. So I'll tell people, Gmail me at, and then I'll put where they can
Got
Gmail
it.
me at. So
I've
that
never heard
figure it
anyone
out.
be like, you can Gmail me.
I just do that. Yeah. On TikTok, I'll say to them, if I write out, because sometimes you make comments and if TikTok doesn't like them, they won't delete them, but the other person will never know that you made the comment.
Yeah. They
So
hide
I
it.
know that they've done that with email addresses, people have told me. So that's why I'll say, so Gmail me, wink, wink, at Psyched Out or Psych Dr. J, whatever, wherever the fuck you, whatever. But people listen to this going, are these people okay? No,
We're fine. There's just wine.
we're not okay. Send more wine. Anyways, WCWYCW1 at Gmail. And it is really easy if you think, why complain when you can whine? Just take those first if you don't know. And you can also leave us comments. So if you have stories you want to tell us, if you have comments, nice comments that you want to leave us, if you have suggestions for wine, if you have suggestions for topics, if you have dirty little secrets you want to let out, let us know.
Or bad comments too, just not abusive comments, because that shit's not cool.
I like the way you said it. That shit's not cool. That shit's not cool at all.
You can have
Helpful
negative
feedback.
comments. You can have disagreements. Don't be fucking abusive.
Don't be abusive. If you want to get your point across, we are all for civil discourse. I am all for civil discourse. I have had some very nice exchanges with people that did not agree with me on my page. You don't agree with me, and that is fine. That's what makes the world go round. There's 8 billion people on this planet. And if we all had the same opinions, if we all had the same likes and dislikes, it would be a fucking boring life.
Just want to make sure you said B with a billion with a B.
Billion.
Okay, I thought I heard you say million.
Oh no, there's 8 billion.
Okay, I just
There's
wanted to
8
say-
billion people. 7 billion, we passed that like, I don't know, decades ago. Yes, there's 8. They said on November, I believe it was supposed to be November 15th, they were predicting 8 billion people. It was 7 billion and counting. And they said on November 15th, I think it was 2022, we'll pass the 8 billion mark. So
Wow.
8, yeah. 8
Wow.
billion people.
On that note, that's a whole lot of fucking toxic people.
I was just gonna say, and that just means that there's more. When there's 1% of the population at 8 million versus 1% at 8 billion.
Loving single. That's all I have to say.
So even though this is not coming
It's a
out
good
on
run.
Thanksgiving, you guys, happy Thanksgiving again. I am grateful. I am grateful for any and everyone that is listening and subscribes and likes and comments and all of that as well. I had a friend who was like, I can't tell them to like, subscribe, and comment. Oh my God, that's like, ew, I'm not selling myself. And I'm like, no, that's what you do. You tell people like, subscribe, comment, all that. That's called marketing. That's what commercials are.
Listen, like, subscribe, comment,
Follow, whatever, all of that stuff. Yeah.
share.
Cheers, guys. I have a little bit left.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Love you.
Oh, that's my son. He has a photo bomb.